Hey guys, what's up? It's Danny here, and I'm gonna be honest with you, today has not been the best day of my life. If you guys saw my last video, and if you could see my shirt, as you guys saw, I was supporting Germany for this World Cup. However, in some way, the tournament is done for them. They weren't able to go to the next round. They lost to South Korea. They had a really bad tournament, I have to say. Now, instead of whining and complaining about the whole tournament, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I actually decided to do a really interesting analytical video. You see, there's been this really weird trend where teams that win the World Cup, they get knocked out in the group stage in the next World Cup they go to. So my whole entire video is gonna revolve around that. If you're just fed up with the World Cup, if you're fed up with soccer, with everybody annoying you about all the updates, then you're more than happy to just exit, because that's all this video is gonna be about. But now if you're into the World Cup and you really like soccer or football, as a lot of people call it, just watch this video. But before we get to the video, just remember to follow me on Instagram and on Snapchat at Goalkeeper Danny, and do not forget to subscribe. Here is a video for you guys. The World Cup is without a doubt the biggest sporting event in the world. Fans watch their countries battle to see who will win the title. In the last editions of the World Cup, the champions have been Germany in 2014, Spain in 2010, Italy in 2006, Brazil in 2002, and France in 1998. But what if I told you that the champion of the World Cup always gets knocked out in the first round of the next World Cup it enters? This has almost been the case for the past 20 years. The only team that did not follow the trend was Brazil. In 2002, Brazil won the tournament, but in 2006 they made it out of the group stage just fine all the way to the quarterfinals. In this video, I will explain what causes World Cup champions to flop and fall in the next World Cup they enter after becoming champions. Please be aware that I am just a fan of the sport like everybody else, and of course everything I mention is open to discussion, and these are just my viewpoints. Now let's begin with some similarities that these teams followed. First of all, after being crowned champions, each team entered the tournament at a higher ranking than they were at last tournament. France won 1999 being ranked number 18, but were knocked out in 2002 being ranked number 1. Italy won in 2006 being ranked number 13, but knocked out in 2010 being ranked number 5. Both Germany and Spain were ranked number 2 when they became champions, but were ranked number 1 when they got knocked out at the next tournament. In addition, each World Cup champion fails to win their first group game in the next tournament. France lost to Senegal in 2002, Italy tied 1-1 to Paraguay in 2010, Spain was shattered in a 5-1 defeat to Holland in 2014, and Germany lost 1-0 to Mexico in 2018. Now, the go-to explanation for the general public is overconfidence. Teams that win the World Cup get too cocky, too confident at the next one, which causes poor performance. Of course, there are some tactical excuses, such as issues with the managers, issues with the players, simply not being good enough, being too old, or being too young. But we can't fully justify the results just based off these assumptions. So what is the real reason behind this trend that has been happening? I have come up with 3 different theories that could justify this pattern. The first one is the inverted U theory, also known as the Yerkes-Dodson law. Dodson's law states that too much arousal can weaken performance. And no, not sexual arousal as in any desire a player could have on the field. If a team is too pressured or too confident, it could actually increase the arousal, causing decrease in performance. When a team wins a World Cup, they are given a gold badge on the chest of their jerseys right over their hearts. The badge is a symbol of world dominance in soccer or in football. Now imagine this, every World Cup champion wears this badge, they carry this pride on them, and then they go into the next World Cup knowing that the badge might not be there when they're done with that tournament. And on top of that, the pressure from the media plays a huge picture. Analysts, fans, former legends all give predictions, and all of this adds pressure and arousal to the teams who were just crowned champions 4 years ago. The team is extremely pressured by knowing that it has to live up to its past expectations of success, in their case becoming world champions. Going back to Dodson's law, all this build-up pressure will only build up arousal, and the pressure will result in stress, which leads to poor performance from a psychological standpoint, which can be seen on the field and leads to poor performance. This is extremely justified since each team fails to win their first game of the group stage. They just get too confident or too pressured, which results in them not winning their first game of the group stage, which is one of the most crucial games. My next theory is based on task goal orientation. Task goal orientation is basically the improvement of a past performance. The worse you are, the easier it is to improve, and the better you become at something, the harder it is to improve. Now, something that the champion teams lack is task goal orientation. This is mainly because how are the teams going to improve if they already have something so massive like the World Cup? How can a manager or player outdo winning the World Cup? They simply can't, because there's nothing beyond that. From a psychological standpoint, players just become less motivated to perform better at the tournament because their team already won it 4 years ago. When teams enter the World Cup, they have a goal of winning the trophy. However, teams that already won the tournament in the last edition come less motivated because they already got to the top. This lack of a goal, this lack of a motivation just leads to an early exit, which has been seen in the trend. The next theory comes from a sports psychologist named Bruce Tuckman, and it is known as group formation through a cyclical perspective. You see, teams follow a cycle just like human life. Teams are born, they grow, and then they die out. When teams win the World Cup, they peak. However, after a peak, everything goes downhill from there. World Cup champions getting knocked out early is just that downfall. It is completely unavoidable if you're following Tuckman's theory. Every team is destined to die out at one point, and an early exit as a former World Cup champion is just that, death. This is especially the case for Spain, who dominated the soccer world by winning 2 Euros back-to-back and winning a World Cup in 2010. However, that year it died in 2014 when they were unable to pass the group stage. When a team dies out, they are forced to restart the cycle, which is also why the team just never stays bad forever. So those are some of my theories to why this trend keeps on happening. For any opinion or discussion, please make sure to leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and always remember to stay hydrated.